Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're going to take the Delta Module 1 in December, yes, December 3rd, I know it's a critical time because Module 1 is the mountain you're currently facing. I know it because I was actually geared up to take it very soon. Yes, on that exact date, the 3rd of December, but I have to postpone the test for some other personal issues to take care of. However, that doesn't mean my learning process stops. I keep learning Delta, both paper 1 and paper 2, because I find a lot of interesting points to apply in my real life situations. I mean, in my teaching, in my professional life. So I keep learning. So today in this video, I'm going to talk about the first two sections, task 1 and task 2. And some people would like to skip those parts because they think the mark is not good enough to pass the test. But if you are aiming for the distinction or any as higher marks as possible, I guess mastering these two early wins is absolutely crucial for building confidence for the rest of the paper. So let's dive into some valuable tips. So task 1 is the terminology section, especially testing your breadth of knowledge as a teacher. It's a crucial part of the exam, but the biggest pitfall here is overcomplicating it. You just need to label the tasks. You just need to give definition terms related to ELT. And you will get the total marks of 6, and the marking scheme is simple, 1 mark for each correct answer. So here I would like to share some tips. Tip number 1, and this is the golden rule: be concise. You're only required to write the correct linguistic term, or shall we say teaching term? Yeah. So you don't need to waste your precious time adding a definition or example or a lengthy explanation. You just have to write down the name of that specific one. And that's it. You don't need to elaborate. And tip number 2, avoid giving alternative answers. Like if you put down 2 terms, even if one is correct, the examiners will not give you the mark. So you need to choose your best answer, commit to it, and then move on. You need to trust yourself. You need to trust your knowledge. If you don't know, just skip it. Don't waste your time a lot here. And finally, tip number 3. This is time management. As I've just mentioned it, you need to prioritize your speed of writing. You have a finite amount of time for this paper. Okay? So if you have to think of the answer for more than 15 seconds, if I were you, I would move on. Because you can always revisit it at the end. Or if something comes up in your mind, you can always go back. You don't need to spend the entire amount of time for that task 1. So, well, task 1 is all about recall. So if you can recall it, just write it down. If you can't, skip it. So I want you to pause the video here for a while and think of the answers and write it down. You need to give the correct spelling. So spelling plays an important role here. Even though your answer is correct, and if your the spelling of the answer is incorrect, you will not get the mark. So you also need to pay attention to how to spell that term. For me, I always wrote it down to make sure the spelling is correct, and also to get used to writing down in the exam, because computerized system is not available up until now, and you have to write down the terms. So keep practicing in writing. Okay, so pause the video here for a while, and then we will check the answer. This is from one of the past papers. Don't skip it. please write it down. Okay, check your answer here, please. And in the comment, please write down how many correct answers you get. It's fun. Otherwise, you know, Delta study is a kind of nightmare for me. I don't know about you, but for me, it's like a nightmare. Especially if you are alone. So I also would like to recommend you to have a study partner. In my case, I was alone at first, and then I found a very serious partner from Lima, Peru, and I really thank him because he encouraged me a lot, and he also helped me find out the correct answer. We discussed a lot. We were very committed to the exam. So the nightmare become sweet dreams. Roger, I would like to say thank you to you in this video. Okay. So if you get all correct, write down all correct, or maybe only one correct answer, or maybe only one mistake. Whatever, congratulations teachers, you have tried the first one. For me, I try to memorize some of the things, like a sound changes to another one because of the neighboring sound, it's assimilation. Yeah, sometimes I try to memorize them by learning them by heart, and sometimes I try to understand the meaning, and sometimes, as we are teachers, we have already known that, for example, for number B, the adjectives such as big, small, verbs such as arrive, late. So as a teacher, I have already known that this is antonym. For some phrases, yes, I have to study by heart. I use Quizlet, and I do revisions every day, nearly every day, like at least for 10 to 15 minutes, but not much, only around 10-15 minutes every day. I have a look at those things, and it really helped. Okay, let's give it a try for another one. Pause the video, try to write down. As I have mentioned again and again, be aware of your spelling. Pay attention to spelling. Correct spelling matters. Don't worry if you have to think more than 15 minutes. Sorry, I mean 15 seconds. Move on. Leave it and move on. Okay, let's check the answer. If you haven't finished writing down your answers yet, please pause the video. Here, in my case, I don't want to make the video long because it's a little bit hard for me to upload the long video because of my country's internet connection. So let me move on. Are you correct? Right? Here, I also would like to tell you something. Please don't write CLIL only. Content and language integrated learning. You need to give the full answer, not the shortcuts, not the short form. For me, when I was studying for this one, the sound and also the place and the manner were the most difficult one for me. But thanks to my, as I have mentioned before, thanks to my study partner, he explained me very well, and yeah, I think I understand them a lot better. Okay, let's move on to another one. Okay, pause the video, teachers, and write down your answer. And also let me know how many marks you get. You know, you can also encourage each other. You have to, you should know that you are not alone. Maybe you don't get any answers because maybe this is your first time trying these things. So it's also okay. But if you can share, okay, I only get 1 mark. Hey, me too. I don't know that answer. Well, me neither. You have some, you know, companies, and it can also motivate you. So please don't hesitate to write down how many correct answers you get or how many mistakes. Yeah, let's help each other. Give me the correct spelling. Try to give the correct spelling. Okay, I will move on. So for the umbrella term, both answers are correct because either one is correct. Because this is the same definition, superordinate and also hypernym. Actually, I have to remove it, sorry. Product approach. Only product approach. I don't need to write down 2 writing. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so I think you get the hang of it and you understand, or maybe you have already understood that. Now this is just a revision for you, maybe. So let's move on to task 2 because task 2 is also about terminology, so the same for task 1. In task 2, this is the definition and example session. So you have to give definition followed by a clear, realistic example. To tell you the truth, when I prepare for this task, I also don't know all the terms and all the questions. So sometimes I had to leave blanks, and then I would come back to that space if something comes up, or if I have enough time in the end. So don't stress out too much if you don't know. You have to give short written response, not the long paragraph, only short response. They will give you 4 terms, like the questions is 4. They give you 4. They ask you to give the definition for 4 terms, so you have to give the answer. Maybe the questions are from language systems, or about the skills, or about methodology, approaches, or even about assessment. And you will get 2 marks for the definition and 1 mark for the correct example. When I first started learning for Delta module, when I first started learning Delta module 1, at the time in class, I only wrote down the examples, and my trainer reminded me that, oh, you will not get the mark for the example if if you don't give the definition. I still remember his voice. So yeah, here I highlighted this one. You will get mark for the example if you give the correct definition. You can't cheat like me. You can't give only the example. You have to give the full, you have to give the exact definition, and if your definition is correct, you will get mark for your example. So without further ado, let's have a look at the question. Like this, they will give you 4 terms and then give an appropriate brief example or illustration for each of the items below. You need to write down your answers. So pause the video here, take a short time and write down. Please, you can also write in the comment. But I have to move on because I want to keep this video short and sweet. So here are the sample definitions I study. So for the not only for the morpheme, I would like to give the overall advice. So tip number 1 is you should use subheadings like definition and example, because it is to make your make your layout clear for the example. If the examiner can see the clear version, it is good for you and also for the examiner. So you should use the subtitles. And as I have mentioned before, you need to keep the definition accurate, but you don't need to write down a paragraph. Your definition must capture the essential features of the term, the precise meaning, the essential features, and the correct point of the term. Okay, for example, here the questions are only for morpheme, gradable adjective, fricative, and product writing. I will give you another example. Let's suppose you are defining minimal pair. As a teacher, you know what minimal pair is. At the time, your definition should include one phoneme difference or maybe a single sound difference, because this is a key point, right? PIN pin and BIN bin should be your example. Only a single sound difference, and that's it. But you need to put that exact phrase, okay? A single sound difference or one morpheme difference, because this is the key point. Okay, last but not least, I think it's tip number 3, isn't it? The example must be a full, realistic piece of language. Okay, for example, look at my example. I'm not saying this is the best example. I'm just sharing what I have done, because I had a lot of difficulties, not having study partners, not knowing the exact answers. So, it was a long journey. So I just would like to share what I've done. Okay, and hopefully it is useful for you too, especially for upcoming exam. Well, so there you have it, your quick guide to crush paper 1, tasks 1 and 2. And here I would like to give you the bonus. Well, you need to know these tasks like the back of your hand, so that you will know where to focus and what to do to prepare for the exam for the best. So wait, the bonus is none other than some advice, some pieces of advice. What I would like to say is the Delta is not an easy experience. So if you don't have a study partner, look for a study partner. Look for a serious study partner. And because instead of studying the concepts or the terms alone, discussing those definitions out loud is one of the most effective ways to solidify your understanding. And all I remember is not from the trainer, no offense, but most of the things I remember are from my study partners, because we talk a lot, we discuss a lot. Okay, so it can also force you to articulate the definitions in a meaningful way. Oh, I understand like this. How about you? Something like that. Okay, so you can also discuss the terms with each other in a meaningful way. And I also want you to look for the past papers. In my case, as I'm from Myanmar and as I'm not taking the course in the official center, it was a bit difficult for me to get the past papers. But thanks to my partner and some of my friends here, I got the guided answers, the past papers, and I read examiner's comment. And this is the most important part. So when I say study the past papers, not only study, I mean, how are you using the past paper? How you use the past papers matters most. This is just from my point of view. We need to reflect. Not only to check the answer, we need to reflect ourselves. Okay, we need to compare our answer with the sample answers, what they include and what you didn't include. We need to compare those things. And not only those things, Well, what I'm saying is not only read the sample guided answers, but also read the examiner's report. Believe me, they are gold. Okay, they can point out a lot of important points, a lot of important facts. So you should learn what mistakes most candidates make and how to avoid them. You can learn from other people. You can learn from the sample answer in examiner's report. So another point is consistency. Consistency beats cramming every time. Not only for this Delta module, okay? Every time. You need to be consistent. I think this is what separates the successful candidates. So, well, dear, best of luck. And if you found these tips helpful, please like the video and subscribe for more Delta preparation content. And let me know in the comments what other areas of Module 1 you would like me to cover next. And see you in the next video. Bye bye.